I see it is 9 o'clock, so I think we can start. Annelies, are you guys happy if we start, or should we give a couple of more minutes just for everybody to join?
I think we can start, Gerard.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right, cool. Thank you. So I think from my side, very warm welcome to everybody here today. It's our 7th Agbiz Grain virtual SHEQ workshop. So far, so good. So very warm welcome to all of you. I think just I displayed the program there. So today's workshop will be not as lengthy as some of the previous ones, but I think very insightful. So I would like to introduce Fani Strauss, who will be our presenter today. So Fani, my apologies if I'm looking on my other screen there. I've just got it displayed there. So Fani is from Ebenaar Neeser Environmental Consultants, and he is the CEO and the founder of the company. They do various consulting on occupational hygiene aspects, as well as some occupational health and safety aspects in the industry sector, so pertaining to the Occupational Health and Safety Act, but also in the mining sector. So he is a qualified and registered occupational hygienist, and also has his advanced certificate in mine ventilation control, which is obviously needed in the Mine Health and Safety Act, and has 52 years of experience, so a wealth of knowledge and experience. And Fani, I think from my side, thank you very much for taking the time to present to us today and sharing your wealth of knowledge with us today. So Fani, I think over to you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, then you are welcome to share yours with a presentation.
Thank you, Gerard. Thanks for the welcoming. I'm looking forward for the session. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna speak about why is occupational hygiene, especially measurements and risk assessment, why is it necessary at your works? And I'm going to take us through the Occupational Health and Safety Act requirements. First of all, we look at the introduction and registrations itself, and then the AIA requirements, approved inspection authority requirements, SANAS accreditation, and then we can look at the hygiene survey approach, discussion of hygiene survey, noise discussion, explaining NRR, and then the questions. The main reason why I've opted to do it this way is to more elaborate on the reports that we issue to the different concerns after an occupational hygiene survey was done. We cannot, obviously, time constraint, go through every hazard that's existing at the concern at the client, but I'm gonna concentrate for now on the noise part of the hazards, and then I'm gonna explain how it's done, why it's done, and how to sort this thing out. The main thing that you must always bear in mind when I talk about the noise, just think about all the other hazards in your system. You've got ergonomics, you've got fatigue management, you've got temperatures, you've got cold and hot temperatures, you've got illumination, you've got vibration, you've got hazardous chemicals like dust and grain and all that sort of stuff that we look at. So if I talk about noise and the way that we go about it, think about all those other hazards as well. It's exactly the same, just different legislation.
I think, Fani, maybe just to add there as well, I think our previous workshop also referred to, or was regarding occupational health in the workplace. So Dr. Mkonazi presented to us in terms of what what do we need to do in terms of occupational health in the workplace? And I think that the occupational hygiene aspect was a very strong leg towards occupational health. So quite rightly what you're saying there in terms of that this links to various aspects within risk management.
100% correct, Gerard. You will see later on this presentation, I'm going to talk about a medical linkage. That's where we linked everything that we do and the results we obtain from the measurements. We linked it to every person on site, and we give that to the doctor, and the doctor knows exactly what you're exposed to at your working place. And the idea with this is that a doctor will take this per person, and when they do the examination of that person, they must know he's exposed to more than 85 decibels, or he's exposed to dust and that sort of stuff. That is exactly where the health part comes. That's how we link up with the health part. This is just a little overview of our company. We are representing in all the provinces in the country. We go to all sites in all the provinces and sometimes abroad, especially the oil rigs. Okay, we're gonna look at the legislation as far as Occupational Health and Safety Act 85 and 93 is concerned, and it's important to note that in Regulation 8, that every employer shall provide and maintain a working environment that is safe and without risk to the health of his employees. And we have to look at the next methods and duties. The provisions and maintenance of systems that are safe and without risk to health. That is where you, on the site, need to have a system in place that if you did identify risk, like for instance, if you have a noise area, a noise zone that's more than 85, the system must be in place that you have an area demarcated, you've got all your signs out, and somebody will check it and maintain it, make sure it's always there. The most important thing is that you must take, the employer must take such steps to eliminate or mitigate any hazards or potential hazard to the safety or health of employees before resorting to personal protective equipment. And that's a very important one. What we normally do all over in the industry, the first thing we do is we issue a person with PPE. And a lot of times we're going to discuss it. It's not a correct PPE, but I can say, okay, if I give him hearing protection or I give him a mask, I'm happy. That is not the access. Actually, you must take that hazard away. And because any hazard has got a potential to injure somebody. You must make arrangements for ensuring the safety and absence of risk to health. There must be arrangements in place that you can actually make sure that the person, the hazard is taken away, so the person can't get exposed to whatever hazard it is. Then we need to establish what hazard to the health or safety of persons are attached to any work. And that is where the occupational hygiene part comes in, which is performed, and he shall further establish that precautionary measures should be taken to protect the health and safety of persons, and that he shall provide the necessary means to apply such precautionary measures. Now, saying that, you can just think for yourself that we need systems in place. We will need to make sure people are trained properly, and we make to ensure that we've got safe operating procedures in place, and that we actually check the safe operating procedure. Is it working? We call it sometimes, we call it a witness of activities. You have to go and witness the person, where they work, what they do, and how they do. And then providing such information, instructions, training, and supervision as may be necessary to ensure the health and safety of his employees. In saying all of this, there's a lot of instructions given in the Act to the employer. Just think about the information side of it. Information, do we really make sure that all the guys on the site got all the information of our production targets and how we perform, and then the safety statistics. And so they all know, they understand what we've got. And then the instructions must be clear, and you must give proper instructions. You can only give proper instructions if you've got a proper risk assessment done on your site, and that goes for safety, goes for health, and goes for occupational hygiene, then you can have managerial instructions to say what you do in every area. And then the main part here, and I see a lot of places where we've got accidents and inspectors come out and the questions get asked, training and supervision. Is there proper training to all the people? Do they know what the hazards are? Do they know how to mitigate it? And do we understand what did we do to eliminate the hazard? And then one of the main things here is a proper supervision. You'll see if you look at the definition of a supervisor, it's a person that is knowledgeable, a person that understands the work that he's in, and he's got experience. Then he can be a supervisor. Main thing here is not permitting any employee to do any work or to produce unless the precaution measures contemplated, precaution measures which may be prescribed have been taken. And that's where the daily inspections of your operations come in. We must make sure that all the precaution measures has been taken and people adhere to our instructions and code of practices. Must be taking all necessary measures to ensure that the requirements of this act are complied with. And that's also a system. You notice, if you look at any accident or incident, the first thing that you're going to have to look at is a system failure. And normally in our operations, for anything to go wrong, there's normally a system failure. And all of this, what I mentioned previously, will be investigated. And somewhere along the line, they might find there will be a system failure. If we've got all of this in place and something went wrong, then this guy either wasn't trained, he wasn't supervised properly, he had got no instructions, there's no safe operating procedures, it's not in place. Then you've got a system failure. A lot of times we say the root cause of this accident, the guy didn't listen, or the guy did something stupid, whatever. It's not the case normally. The root cause, there will be a system failure, normally. Enforcing such measures may be necessary in the interest of health and safety. And if you think about it, a person not wearing his personal protective equipment, either a dust mask or hearing protectors, by law, he must do it. It's not if or why, he must do it. And we must ensure that this is done. The person is supposed to protect his own safety, but also the safety of people around him. And here we come, ensuring that work is performed under the general supervision of a person trained to understand the hazards associated with it, and who have the authority to ensure that precaution measures taken by employer are implemented, and causing all employees to be informed regarding the scope of their authority as contemplated in Section 371B of this Act. 371B tells you that you have certain instructions in that 371B, and all that must be adhered to. In looking at this whole act that I've been going through just now, we must understand that you have a system in place that will identify the hazards, and then you deal with the hazards. First of all, to eliminate it, then to mitigate it, and then to control it at source, and as a last resort, to give the personal proper protection, personal protective equipment, PPE. If there's any questions now, I would like to take it if you want to.
Bonnie, maybe just a point from my side. I think the training aspect is quite something that often is lost regarding occupational hygiene. I think often we conduct the surveys and it's a whole document, and we actually never refer back to any of it. So the maybe just a point to note is that to use these surveys and the recommendation that are presented in the surveys, and also train employees on these risks and hazards and the mitigations of those risks and hazards. Because I think that's exactly what the legislation there refers to, is that employees must be aware of these risks and what the mitigations thereof are.
Yes, what I can mention here as well is, a lot of times we do these surveys every second year. And then when you do your survey, you take the previous 2 years ago survey. It's exactly the same. We can actually walk to points of the light that hasn't got a light bulb. 2 years later, it's still the same thing. That happens because we got a survey issued, which is nice to have because inspectors here must have it. So when it gets there, yes, the survey is there. But we don't act on what's in the act, and it's a very good document that tells you a lot of risks that exist on the site. Okay, let's go over to one of the hazards that we do measure on site. That's a noise, and that's a noise-induced hearing loss regulation 7 of March 2003. Where an assessment of noise indicates that any employee may be exposed to noise at or above the noise rating limit, an employer shall ensure that a measurement program of noise exposure at that place is carried out in accordance with the provisions of these regulations, carried out only after the relevant health and safety representative or relevant health and safety committee has been informed thereof and given a reasonable period to comment thereon. And this is one of the things that we normally forget to do. We don't tell the safety reps, these guys will be on site, they're going to do a survey, and that's why we do it. And actually what should happen, the safety rep should accompany the person doing the survey to see what's happening. And these surveys must be carried out by an approved noise inspection authority. And that person or company needs to be, first of all, accredited by SANAS, and they must be approved to the Department of Employment and Labour. The survey must be representative of the employee's exposure to noise. Once he's working in the area, you must make sure that you measure his 8-hour time-weighted average to know what he's going to be exposed to during his 8-hour shift. If they're working 12 hours, always calculate down to 8 hours. The employer shall ensure that in the case where a number of employees work in an area of approximately equal noise, make provision for a selection of not less than 3 locations, which are representative of the positions occupied by employees, and for the taking of measurements at each position as contemplated in SANS 1.3. These are very, why I put that in as well, it's in the act as well. When your employees go for an examination, and determine that they get the noise-induced hearing loss of 10 decibels, it must be reported, and 25 decibels, you will get compensation. And when you ask for compensation, first thing you're going to be asked is, did the guy wear the correct hearing protection? Where is your noise survey to determine the noise exposure in that area? And that's where you're going to ask it. We did a noise survey, and then you have to prove that it was AIA qualified and accredited and approved the Department of Labour. Otherwise, this won't stand in the court of law. They ensure to measure that the measuring program in the case of employee working at approximately fixed location relative to noise source makes provision for the measurement to be taken at the approximate position of person here. Again, this is the AIA should know that, the AIA should know exactly how to take it, and that the noise measurements should be repeated every 24 months. Obviously, when something else changes in your operation, another vehicle comes in, another machine comes in, the noise survey must be repeated to ensure that you still got levels under 85 decibel. We look at regulation 10, an employer shall ensure that the exposure of a person to noise is either prevented or where it is not reasonably practicable, adequately controlled. Provided that the control of the exposure shall be regarded as adequate if the exposure is below the noise rating limit. In our case, 85 decibel. If the exposure is at or above the noise rating limit, but the reason has been identified and action is taken by means of other than the use of hearing protection equipment to lower exposure so that it does not exceed the noise rating limit. And there we can go into a lot of detail here, but I'm just going to mention something. You can, for instance, rotate your workers working in the area. In some instances, you're allowed to go to a noise area for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever. We must identify what is happening there so we can manage it properly. And then again, employees should ensure the results of measurements are recorded. This is an interesting one we're going now. Keep records of the results of all assessments, noise monitoring and medical surveillance reports. You see the medical comes in here as well. And of maintenance control measures required by these regulations. Make the records contemplated paragraph A available for supervision by an inspector. Whenever he walks in there, he can ask you for this. Subject to the formal written consent of employer, allow any person to produce the records with respect to that particular employer. And the medical person will tell you that the employee must give his consent to share his information of his health with other people. Make the records of all assessments and noise monitoring, for instance, this hygiene report, available for production by the relevant health and safety representative or health and safety committee. The most interesting one is keep all records of assessment and noise monitoring for a minimum period of 40 years. That also goes for the medical assessment of the worker. Those records must be kept. Keep all medical surveillance records, including the baseline audiogram of every employee for a minimum period of 40 years. If the employee sees activities, hand over, off, or forward by registered post, all those records to the relevant provincial director. What happens after that, nobody knows, but that is what the law says we must do. Very important is keep a record of training given to an employee in terms of regulation 4.6 for as long as the employee remains employed at the workplace in which he or she is being exposed to noise. If we look at the person reporting for noise-induced hearing loss and compensation for that matter, or a person contracting silicosis, then the doctor must do a risk assessment on this person's exposure over these years. And there's a specific form that we use, and there's been the form asks you, has a person where did he work? What was the exposure hazards, dust or noise? And was he trained? Was the measurements repeated done? And was this guy wearing the correct personal protective equipment? And all those questions need to be answered and must be validated. What is an approved inspection authority? And I'm just going to tell you what the Occupational Health and Safety Act say. Any person with the aid of specialized knowledge or equipment or after such investigations, test, sampling, or analyze as analysis and may consider necessary render as a service by making special findings. Special findings too. And if you look at this report stands in the court of law. The person doing the survey, the person signing the report, he's the person that will have to answer on all the exposure levels that's recorded in the report. You need to investigate the exposure of any person, the safety or risk of the health of any work or condition prevalent and or on the premises. The question of whether any particular legislated standard has been or is being complied with respect to work or condition prevalent on the premises by issuing a certificate stated such findings to the person to whom the service is rendered. That's again the report that you receive. The person doing the survey must be able to actually tell you what was wrong and recommend how to fix it. In terms of the act, the inspection authority can only operate if it has been approved by chief inspector. The inspection authority approved by chief inspector with respect to any particular service shall be an approved inspection authority with respect to that service only. And to be able to, nowadays you want to get approved by the Department of Labour, as I said earlier, you have to be accredited by SANAS. Sorry, I just see there's a repeat of this slide.
Bonnie, sorry,
yeah.
just if I may interrupt there, I think a lot of, I've heard the question a lot with regards to the AIA. So in other words, what the legislation portrays is that unless, so one can't actually conduct these surveys like illumination and noise surveys and dust surveys, etc., internally, unless you actually employ a occupational hygienist internally. Because I think often the question is asked, but can we not buy the instruments and conduct these surveys ourselves? Do we have to get somebody from outside? And I think this is where the legislation actually answers the question in terms of a registered, authorized inspection authority.
Yes, Gerard, that is, if you think about it, I mean, if you've got a hygienist on site, you can do measurement, and you mentioned illumination. The illumination, for instance, doesn't fall under the AIA. You don't need the AIA to do illumination surveys. Then you can buy a lux meter, must be calibrated, and then an electrician or someone else looking at the lights. You can measure the light to see which correct. But coming back to the hygienist on site, you're gonna have surveys done, but he's not approved. He's not the AIA. At the moment, he's going to be challenged by a person got noise induced hearing loss, and the workers' compensation doesn't want to pay out whatever, or there's a lawsuit. Then they're going to say, no, this thing wasn't done impartially. We needed somebody with accreditation to come and do this and give us a report. So this is yes, I think it can be done, especially you want to do it more often and make sure you're still in the right line. But to have a report that you submitted in the court of law, then you're going to have to need the AIA to look at that. If I go further, the noise assessor conducted identify all employees likely to be exposed to noise at or above the noise rating limit of hearing conservation. Just put in the place of noise here. Put dust in there. Must make sure he's not exposed to too much dust. Just think about ergonomics. You must look at the ergonomic side of it. You must look at the vibration side of it. And all other hazardous chemicals. He's a guy welding fumes. These are particulate matter with the vehicles. All that sort of stuff need to be measured and identified. Because here we talk about fumes, we talk about CO2, we talk about CO and nitrous fumes and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, with the help of the employer, when we do the survey, obtain information on noise sources and work practices that will help to decide what measures should be taken to reduce the noise. You know, it's I, which in business for a long time, will have done numerous surveys already. And it's easy to come and sit down and say, I recommend you do this, you do that. We should actually discuss this with the manager on site. So listen, I've identified the following hazards. How can we fix it? This report doesn't mean anything. If a report comes to my desk and we try to be clever here, we for person A or client A, we say the same as we do with client B and client C, and then we go with a different environment and we give the same recommendation because it's easy. But it's not easy on site. The manager and the safety reps or the safety committee might have quite a different idea how we can fix it. And normally they've got good ideas, and we need to involve them when we do put those recommendations on the report. We must guide in the selection. The AIA must guide the selection of equipment and layout of workplace to reduce exposure. And we must check the effectiveness of measures taken to reduce noise. For instance, if you say that put some attenuation material around the motor, whatever, needs to be checked again and make sure that is below 95. A guide and selection of appropriate hearing protection equipment and demarcate noise zones. That PPE that we're referring to, we're going to look later, we're going to discuss the NRR. But what the law says is that when you issue PPE, if it is hearing protectors to persons, first of all, you must get it selected. Somebody must tell you what type, what NRR must I have on my hearing protectors, and then the workers must test it and see which ones fit better. Now, I went to a lot of places, they buy one type of hearing protector and they talk about Christmas tree and this. I know the Christmas tree is one that hurts your ears. People don't wear it. It doesn't last for a day. And there's different ones that you can use. And sometimes you need to have hearing protection that's in your ear, calibrated at the factory, whatever puts in the ear, and it's for every person that one selected. Some of the hearing protectors can be washed, some can't be washed. Another thing that we sit with here is the salesman comes to the store or the procurement officer. So this, I can give you another hearing protector. This one costs 14 Rand per hearing protector set. I can give you one for 5 Rand. And the guy said, right, I can make a lot of savings for the company here. And the procurement officer doesn't know about this report. He will go around and say, okay, I've got other ones now. We save ourselves 50,000 a year. But in the meantime, we're not protecting our guys properly. First of all, it's not a good quality. And secondly, it doesn't protect the guy to a noise exposure less than 85 decibel. And the instrumentation that you use is this, either type 1 or type 2, but with SUNS accreditation and calibration of this. You must use a windscreen. Just put it up because that is what AI should use and should know, that he knows that he needs to, this type of information needs to be used. And then you need a sound caliber that complies requirement prescribed for type 2, calibrated in SUNS 60942. It's not any calibrator. And this is just a photo of a sound level meter. This is the type 1, class 1 meter, and it measures different frequencies. If you have any questions at this point in time, before I go over to the next section, we can look at it.
I think just maybe a point, and please, you guys are welcome to ask questions. I think just for clarification, the windscreen is not the one on the front of your vehicle. It's actually that windbreaker on the front of the noise meter. Funny, I see Piet has got his hand raised. Yeah.
Bonnie, I just have a question regarding the use of dosimeters. Can we use it ourselves or internally, or must we use an AIA to do the measurement?
I think you can do it internally as well. So you have a more proper exposure of all your workers on a daily basis. The AIA will come in and verify it for you. But yes, it's a much better idea to do it internally. You get more measurements done. The problem with the AIA is you come in and do it 1 or 2 days in a year or 2 years. And at that point in time, that might be the exact working that guys are busy with. So I think dosimeter properly calibrated, a proper dosimeter, and the guy that's doing it is trying to do it. And maybe witnessing of activities by AIA or somebody to say, yes, the guy knows how to work the instrument, he knows how to report, he knows how to do the records. Yeah, then I think the guy on site should be able to do that. I don't think it will stand in the report at the end of the 2 years. You'll have to have another report done. And if that AI would come in and just verify all your readings, I think that could also be possible.
Hence, that's the question, Fanny, because intensity differs. It depends on seasonal intakes, and that's why we are rather, hence that question, why we're asking, because once a year or twice a year, so you need to, not always is your AI available at the right times or when the frequency is high, and that's why we try to see if we can incorporate it. But the question, yeah, but you answered the question. Thank you so much, Fanny. Thank you.
But you're 100% correct. And then the thing is, you also must remember, we don't want to measure just the high exposures. We need to do the whole year, the whole 2 years. Every day is different. You know, we've got if you do a sampling schedule on a client, and you must actually produce a sampling schedule at the beginning of the year, and say when you're going to measure which person in which area, and you must stick with that schedule. If you get to say, for instance, I said I want to measure Paul today, and he's a packer, but that day it's raining and everybody says there's nothing to pack, there's nothing to do. That's his exposure for that day. I mustn't wait until we pack again. There's a lot of dust to check the guy. I mustn't wait until all the machinery is working, because that guy is exposed to that little noise that day. That's what you want to measure.
Thanks, Fanny. Appreciate it.
If you look at the approach of a hygiene survey, and again we must think about all the assets, not only noise now. Reports on noise these include the following. The report that you get must include the following: the purpose of the measurement, a description of the measured environment, a dimensioned drawing or sketch that indicates measuring points and noise zone boundaries. I'll come to that one just now. I've got a example here of a drawing that we do. The 8-hour rating level, including the right to estimate the impulse correction, even very relevant for each noise zone and also for specific areas or locations, such as operators' positions. You must describe the noise source, exactly where the noise comes from. Description of the operating conditions of the noise source, including non-operational sources and machinery, of which the estimate effect should be given in operation during measurements. That's when you come into an area and some of the machines are off because of a breakdown or something, but you can't now report and say, listen, this area is less than 85, but all the machines are not working. Tomorrow the machines will be working, there's more than 85. When you sit with the report and say, I'm okay. It's less than 85, so I don't have to give the guys hearing protectors. I'm fine. But in the meantime, the report doesn't show you the correct values. And then very important is the description of the measuring equipment, including serial. What I'm talking about here is what is in your report, what you will see in your report. The calibration dates of measuring equipment. Some of the instruments must be calibrated every year. Some can be done every second year, but most of the times will be every year. So you must have a calibrated instrument working when you're doing your survey. The dates of the test must come in there, the name of the test officer, obviously, the address of the site. That is part of the report, and that is what you must have in your report. And that is when the manager gets this report, or your safety managers, whoever gets the report, can go through this and make sure these points are all covered in the report. Otherwise, there's something amiss there. If you look at the hygiene survey itself, the noise exposure each category risk is allocated as indicated in the table below. We We do a risk assessment on all the noise levels. You'll see here that less than 70 to 82 decibel. It's insignificant, no action needs to be taken. 83 to 85 decibel, it's a C category risk. There's a potential risk of noise in these hearing loss. And occupational hygiene monitoring of exposure, you need to make sure maybe you monitor a bit more and make sure that it's still below 85. 86 to 90 decibel, it's a B category. Moderate risk, intervene and re-evaluation of risk. You must do something here to get it down, and we re-evaluate the risk and we measure again and see if we can get it down. That's all it says there. 91 to 95, significant risk. Priority intervene, followed by re-evaluation of risk. And 96 to 105, still a B category, risk factor 4, unacceptable level of risk. Immediate intervention and re-evaluation for risk. More than 106 decibel, definitely extreme risk of noise induced hearing loss, urgent intervention. And now it's important here to know that at a certain time here from 83 to 85, we're going to need to give the person proper hearing protectors. And we can discuss this a little bit later now, what type of hearing protection we're going to give the guy. But as you can see, this is also a risk published, and that is how we, in your report, you will see when we talk about the A category, B category, C category, this is where it comes from. A typical noise assessment result in your report will look like this. For instance, in this case, the ball mill at 94.4 decibel. Area back, control room, all those are listed there. You can see where the high ones are. And you'll see on the right-hand side, here on the right-hand side, you'll see that you've got the NRR that you need for this one at the ball mill 2 will be 35. But most of the people do, they say, okay, I'm not going to give the guys different PPE. I'm going to give everybody an NRR value of 35. To cover everybody, maybe it's a better idea to do it. Here is a drawing that you get with the report. And those red lines stipulate the zone area, and we calculated then zone 1 is that area will be 95.4 decibel. But you will see here that the noise are measured all over the show. So we can get a combination of noise values and calculate what that noise area will be. The same type of drawing will go for the illumination that we do, but there you will see a lot more numbers in there. Every little equipment, every place where you work, every place where you walk, up the stairs, down the stairs, the pipes, the motors, you will have a reading there. And the report will tell you the lights are on, the lights are off, there's a bulb missing, or the shades are dirty. So you can take this drawing and go back to that drawing and tell the electrician where to go fix and what to look at. Any questions on that side? Okay, the quality of hearing protection, yes?
No, I was just saying I don't see any hands at this stage for me. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, when choosing the correct hearing protector for specific areas, it is important to know that the meanings of the reduction rates mean to determine whether the specific type of protector will be suitable for employees. You must remember that if you, for instance, work in an area of, say, 95 decibel, and you give a person a hearing protector, and why wearing the hearing protector, it's only going to bring it down to 90 or 87. He's still overexposed. You think that you protected the guy, he's not protected, he still get noise in his hearing loss. And everybody's happy because he's wearing his hearing protection. Remember, if you examine a person, say year 1, and he's got a baseline of 0, Year 2, you measure this guy, he's got a noise induced hearing loss of 5 or 6. There's something wrong. Because you give him PPE, he should not get hearing loss again. He shouldn't deteriorate at all. And then you go to the third or second examination, it's even worse. There is something terribly wrong. Although you're wearing your PPE, he's still exposed. He still carry on, he'll still deteriorate all the time. If you look at the NRR, means the noise reduction rating, and the greatest amount of sound reduced that the hearing protection device can give you. Now, the problem that we sit with here is that some people, some suppliers will tell you, if I give you NRR or SNR of 35 on my package, you will bring 35 or 25 decibel down. And that is not the case. To calculate the correct NRR, you take your, say for instance, you get a package of 25, you minus 7, deduct 7 of that, you get 18. That 18 you divide by 2, and that NRR of 25 will only give you 9 decibel protection. So you can calculate now where I must be for 95, 85 plus 9 will take it to say 94, and you take that's it, then you give a 25 NRR to bring it down to less than 85.
Bonnie, I think this is quite important for everybody to take note of. I think this is a mistake that's made throughout the industry, and I think that this calculation should seriously be taken into consideration when we do buy the needed hearing protection. So we are going to circulate the presentation afterwards, but yeah, I think this is a very, very important point just to take note of. Sorry, Bonnie, thanks.
That's correct, Gerard. We picked it up at a lot of other places as well. As you say, all over the industry, it's the same problem. And the issue here is the guy will keep on losing his hearing, whatever we do. And the one thing that I need to stress with noise and for protection, personal protection equipment as far as noise is concerned, the people must buy into this. They must test the unit before you issue it. They must be satisfied that they can wear it every day. They must be able to clean it properly, and it must bring it down to the right levels. And the main thing of selection is very important. That's why you get people not wearing the hearing protection, because it's hurting their ears, and you can't blame them. If you look at a typical health risk assessment, medical leakage, that's what we issue after this report. And here we can see that every person, we will put it by name. Here we got by occupation and say what are they actually exposed to in this report. You've got the number of employees, you've got your hazard, there's noise in this instance. The OEL is in decimal 85. Actual dB is what you got. The action level, severity, frequency, and then your exposure and your risk rating we for. And then the side we say hygiene measurements, medical surveillance. And the doctor gets this as well for every person. And that's your linkage that he will or she will look at and say, right, these guys are exposed to high noise levels in the working. Although we say he's got his personal protective equipment, the law doesn't look at that. He says what the high area, make sure we monitor and we check him for that. He could be exposed to that as well. And this is just the bottom here to say how do we evaluate, and then how do we get to the top summary to say this guy is highly exposed or not exposed. And what I've done here, I'm not going to repeat all the hazards because it's going to be the similar thing, same sort of legislation. But there's a lot of other things that you measure. But as I say, this is a very detailed, but this will just What we do, repeated 10 or 20 times in your report, takes a number of days to do this. And to discuss it here is just going to waste everybody's time. Are there any questions?
Bonnie, I think, yeah, I think in terms of the frequency regarding doing our occupational hygiene surveys. So let's say, for instance, we have a retail store. So how do we calculate which operations in our companies, where do we need to do occupational hygiene surveys, and where don't we have to do occupational hygiene surveys? I think it's a question that a lot of people are asking, because I think, yeah, there is a cost component, but I think yeah, it's just important just to understand where do we need to do these surveys, and where don't we have to.
Gerard, to answer that question is that you must identify you've got significant risk in the area. In the moment, you can say, right, I haven't got dust, you know what, I haven't got noise, that sort of stuff, and you can have the feel for that. But once somebody asks you, listen, how do you determine there's no significant risk? You need to have a report to show you that you haven't got significant risk, and then you don't do it. You don't have to do it then. But you must remember there's a lot of other things involved. There's, for instance, welders have got significant risk. Guys working with cutting torches got significant risk. Grinders got significant risk. Persons working in an office. You know, if we do economic studies, the most people that's got substandard conditions is the office personnel. Because normally chairs not high enough, can't adjust, all the sorts of computers not right side. And everybody's complaining about neck aches and back aches and wrists and that sort of stuff. And then if you want to say, yes, I haven't got noise, just get somebody to say, right, I've tested it, I've done this, it's below 85 or below 82, so we're fine. That's the only way that you can decide about it. Otherwise, the guy that law say you've got a significant risk, you need to repeat these surveys every second year. But if you can have, say for instance, we test once or twice, you've got no silica in your grain dust, whatever the case might be, you can also say, right, okay, look, grain dust got an OEL of 8, and crystalline quartz has got an OEL of 0.1. A lot of places we've also tested, we checked that the grain dust is above 8 is still there, so you are exposed. But Jared, to answer your question, I think you're going to need a proper survey to determine, have I got a risk or don't I have a risk? And insignificant risk is I'm not going to do it in 2 years' time. I might check 1 or 2 of these things again sometime, but you don't have to repeat it.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, it might be of value to have a baseline survey done, just to have on record what the status is, and then one can take it from there in terms of evaluating what the risks are, and then yeah, then from there determining whether one has to do it biannually or whatever the case may be.
Very important. The word you use, the baseline risk assessment, that's exactly what it's all about. You need a baseline risk assessment to determine what your levels of exposures are.
I think just this another question from my side, Fonny, and this is now more pertaining to the dust environment, because I think most of us are in the grain handling sector of some sort or another. So just pertaining to dust masks in the workplace. So I think obviously from the hygiene surveys, there will be a dust survey conducted. How do we determine what type of dust masks do we use? Do we use the COVID little loppy one, or do we use the ones with the filters, or how do we determine what type of masks do we use?
The type that will be prescribed is a FFP2 type filter. That looks like the normal floppy on the nose, but it seals everywhere on all the sides. But that will keep the grain dust out. If you look at the type of one, you just go to FFP2 type filter, and that will cater for that. And that will also be put in the report to say which ones you must use.
Okay, thank you. I think that's the questions from my side. I think we can open to the rest. I don't know if there are any questions, you guys are welcome to ask. Please feel free to ask. It always opens a bit of conversation.
Gerard, I just have a question in terms of what is best practices and what is law? Just to determine what is your focus points then?
Everything that I've showed here is law so far. You talk about best practices, it will come where somebody asks us now, can I have my own dosimeters to check over a period of time? That will be good. If you have dust, for instance, dust monitors on site, you've got dust monitors now that measure instantaneous and give you readings and that sort of stuff. You can also do that, or you can do dust sampling pumps over a period of time. That will give you an idea when am I overexposed. You know, it doesn't help really for you as an employer, for the ARI to come in here 2 years later and say, listen, man, you've got a lot of dust in this area. But when did this start? Is it now for the last 2 years like this, or just started yesterday or today? So to do your own measurements, and according to that best practice, you will then pick up immediately if you've got a problem or not. Even though you won't be able to use that in the court of law, but you will have, in the case, you'll have then done what the manager should have done, to make sure that he does everything in his power to identify the risk.
Thanks, Fonnie. Noted.
Okay. Fonnie, maybe just something that jumps to mind on my side. I think just regarding the noise surveys, am I correct if I say that there's a hidden benefit to the noise surveys, especially on the machinery side, where we don't only have the benefit of understanding what the noise exposure to our employees are, but also from a maintenance perspective, that maybe bearings that are on their way out, etc., can also be picked up. Am I correct in making that statement?
You know, if you talk about machinery, and you look at if you look at the proper noise survey or a regular noise survey, for instance, you can pick up in the noise. When you look at noise source noise, if you can look at if you need maintenance to be done on a machine, you pick it up immediately. The noise is too high, or wherever you can get a lot of, say for instance, you've got 10 machines standing in a row. We measure every machine separately, and we pick up this one as everyone is below 90, but suddenly this one is running at 97. Then you know, as far as that's gone, you've got a maintenance issue, or you're heading for the breakdown. So the noise can do more than just exposure to people.
Okay, cool. Are there any other questions? I don't see hands raised here. I don't know if there are. Don't see any. Okay, I think then we're all good. Annelies, can I give over to you? Sorry, there's a hand from Stefan. Sorry, Annelies.
Yeah, good morning. Can you perhaps tell us what is the procedure with regards to noise hearing loss with the compensation fund when a company needs to register it, and then the documents that must be submitted for an employee to probably or to possibly qualify for compensation?
Yes, the moment you you've got a hearing loss of less more than 25 decibel. You are then eligible to get compensation. And then the company needs to, the doctor, a medical person will have to register that on a specific form that is there. But this person will then go to audiologist to check his hearing, and then you go to a second opinion. You get 2 audiologist reports of this guy's hearing. And from that, it gets reported to workers' compensation, and the forms fill in to get the money paid out to this person. But again, you know, if you look at workers' compensation, that's insurance that the companies pay towards them. But like all other insurances, they're gonna. I just saw an article yesterday where the guy's claim was rejected because the tires weren't in a proper standard. The same year, they're going to ask you, listen, did you do training on this guy? Did you try to protect this guy? Did you give him PPE and all that sort of stuff? So those things will come into play when the compensation needs to be paid out.
Well, Stefan, if I might just add there, I think the focus there would be to then lean very strongly on the medicals that were conducted, and then referring the person to the occupational medical practitioner, who will then most definitely referring to, as Fani said, to the audiologist. And with the occupational medical practitioner, the WCL forms will be, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's WCA1. I'm now talking on the correction. I'll have to make double sure, but I think it is one, WCA1, that will need to be completed and submitted to the Compensation Commissioner. Hope that answers your question.
This is also very important if you talk about a medical side, occupational medical practitioner, when they do the medical examinations, and this person picks up there's a bit of a shift in his hearing, that's where the manager or the employer must get the report from the medical person. They don't need to discuss the detail, if they have the consent of the worker, he needs to give the employer a report.
Okay, I just had a look here. So it is the WCL1 form that needs to be completed. Cool. All right. Any other questions before we close? If there are questions that pop up later, please feel free to send them through to Annelien. Then we can just get back to you on that. I think often some of the questions come up a bit later.
Sorry, I've lost you guys there for a moment. We got load shedding, but the generator started now, so we're back on again.
Okay. No, thanks, Bonnie. I think we're good.
Gerard,
Yes,
I
Annelien.
just want to confirm, Stephen, is your hand still up? Okay,
There
thanks.
we go. Thank you. Annelies, I think then over to you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. I mean, it's my privilege just to do the thank yous. It's not only just the end of this workshop, but it's almost the end of the year. And Gerard, like you said, it was our 7th one. We've been getting lots and lots of compliments about these SHEQ workshops. So thank you very much to you and to Annelien, who's been doing most of the work behind the scenes and has been very, very effective in arranging this. Thanks for everybody who attended. We can't do this without you. And thank you very much, Fani, for sharing your knowledge on this subject.